Welcome back to another episode of Crit2Cat1 and actually a whole new season. Over the winter I've been trying to keep up the training to kind of utilise the momentum from last season's results and hope for and aim for better results this year. It didn't quite go fully to plan. There was a bit of disruption to kind of the training through illnesses and injuries at various points, which was pretty frustrating because my kind of drive was pretty high. But that's where we are regardless. And yeah, first race of the season now. We'll jump straight in. We're at the Bodington track in Leeds, and you might be able to tell the circuit is a little wet, and it had actually been raining all day. So luckily there wasn't really any surface water, most of it had run off, but yeah, the track was still a little damp, which made for some slightly trickier conditions, especially coming up to this corner here, which is the slowest part of the circuit. And yeah, definitely took it a little steady around there first few laps just to kind of gauge exactly where the limit was. The first lap we did of this race was actually a neutralised start, so it was a fairly steady lap, and then this is the second lap where kind of racing had commenced, and you can see straight from the off it's pretty fast. It's already strung out, there's some people off the front. I'm kind of just trying to hold on at this point, kind of wasn't expecting it to shoot straight off from the start like that. But yeah, I've got also the guy in pink going back there past me is a teammate. So if you haven't watched some videos recently, I've joined Alba Rosa Cycling Club, which is based in Leeds, and yeah, nice to have some teammates here. I think there were 4 or 5 of us in this race, which was pretty cool. Yeah, that was the other kind of big bend in the track there, but that one's a lot more sweeping and you can actually pedal through, which I didn't do at the start but did towards the last few laps. And then this chicane, which felt a bit dodgy, especially coming into some surface water afterwards there. Yeah, it's alright when there's only a kind of few people going through and it's quite strung out, but when it was quite packed together, it felt a little sketchy with people not always holding their lines, kind of going through there, but luckily there were no issues. And then after we just passed the start finish there, and you come up to this incline, not much of a hill I would say, but short incline, and it allows kind of people to put the bit of the power down. And then that's when we come up to that first corner from the lap before. Just going to rejoin here as I kind of show off some more bad cornering still at the kind of start of the race, kind of creating some gaps in front of me which I'm then having to close. And yeah, again on this chicane as well, I found it quite hard initially to kind of keep the speed going through, and as you can see the kind of wheels ahead of me getting away. Luckily on this lap it actually slowed down a bit on the finish straight, so I was able to get back fairly easily, but on some others I had to put in quite a bit of a dig to just kind of stay on the back of the field. And I probably spent a bit too much time at the back of the field, which meant that kind of the surges in pace did make it a bit more difficult for me, rather than if I, in hindsight, maybe stayed close to the front of the field. But yeah, probably one I'll try next time. As we're coming up here, you can see my teammate there on the right, so that's James, coming through up the field to try and get a better position for this corner, and actually shows kind of how slippery the conditions were in places. So as we're coming around this corner, I don't quite get it on camera, but he actually hits the deck going round. I think he said it was his pedal that hit the circuit. Luckily straight back up and he was okay, but it was the end of his race, which was pretty frustrating for him. Rejoining here, and I'm probably at the back of the field really. I don't think there's many people behind me at this point. Again, probably making it quite difficult for myself being this far back. You can see again how it's quite strung out the field, attacks are going off the front, and probably wasn't ideal for me to be right at the back here. But once we came out of the chicane, again you can see me losing the wheel. pushing to get back on, slows down again on the finish straight, and I decided this is an opportunity to use that momentum and just try and get a bit further up the field. I wanted to get a bit higher up, but unfortunately I just got cut off here and wasn't able to go any further. Probably should have tried to go on the outside, but yeah, at least moving up a little bit further in the field for when people are putting their digs up on this incline. Rejoining now a few laps later, so I skipped a few laps because, to be honest, not really much was happening from my side. I wasn't really at the front of the race seeing the action, was just kind of sitting in, trying to save energy, just hanging on really, because it was tough for me. An opportunity here is everyone slows down to kind of just go up the outside towards the front, so I kind of took it, which was quite good. And yeah, this rider pushed on kind of all the way to the front and off the front. As we go around this corner, I'm just happy just to sit on the wheel really, didn't really want to end up right on the front. So at this point I kind of just back off slightly because I don't really want to go on a breakaway, as I've literally just been holding on for the first 15 minutes of the race. Yeah, so I kind of just peeled off to the side, let some other riders come through, try and stay up near the front, but yeah, don't want to actually be working on the front because I just knew I didn't have it in me. I'd already been on the limit for most of the race. So yeah, we come up to almost a lap later, and I'm in a similar position. I've been able to hold up near the front, which I'm quite happy with, whilst also staying in the wheels. You can see, oh, this guy almost went for an attack. I'm not sure if he slipped a gear or something, but backed out. But yeah, constantly people are trying to make attacks off the front, trying to make moves, and yeah, I'm still honestly just in a kind of slight recovery phase, trying to stay near the front, not really trying to go with anything. I'd hope that in the next race I do, I'll feel a bit better and maybe be able to go with some of these moves and actually try and give a breakaway a go. But yeah, for now I'm just trying to stay with it, still taking these corners not very efficiently, losing wheels, and yeah, but just trying to regain some of the effort that I put into the first half of this race. I found out afterwards I set a new, I'm going to call it PB, but probably just a maximum effort of heart rate for 20 minutes, which I think was like 197 beats per minute or something ridiculous. So yeah, it was I found it tough. I also found it quite different to racing in London at like my local circuit, Hillingdon, in that you can pretty much just stay in a big group and just kind of cruise around almost to the finish and then just sprint at the end, whereas this definitely is a lot harder to do. Like it's a lot harder to hide from the effort in this circuit. So yeah, coming a bit later on, a few more laps, and field slowing down slightly here, so I take another opportunity, seeing as I've dropped back a bit in the field, just to follow some wheels going up the outside, moving up in the field. Yeah, going up the climb, and you can see people out the saddle really pushing the pace. So yeah, fall back slightly, but just trying to keep fairly up there near the front, or probably in the middle at this point. Get squeezed in here. You can see how congested the field is here. I think we had 40 for the race. Going down the end of the back straight here towards the velodrome part of the track, and I started to realise as I got a bit more confident on the corners, this was actually one of my strongest areas of the track. So I kind of spotted it as a potential place to move up in the field. I was able to pedal round the corner quite confidently, whereas a lot of people, well, some of the field aren't always able to do. So yeah, try and use that as an opportunity to get in a decent position, and then was getting better at staying on the wheels coming out of that chicane as well. Some attacks going off the right here. My teammate, or a couple of teammates there, trying to go with it. I see it as a good opportunity as well to try and go with it, but I kind of just lose the wheel there, and yeah, don't quite have it in my legs to stick with it. But yeah, you can see people out the saddle, the pace is high again, and yeah, then it just turns into kind of stay with everyone kind of mode rather than trying to follow an attack. So we've got 3 laps to go now, following the wheels in front of me. Pace is pretty high. You can see still people are trying to attack off the front. Gaps are starting to open, so you can see the guy in front of me is trying really hard to close this, putting in quite a big effort. So I'm utilising that just to stay with the group. It's pretty strung out. Yeah, but now passing the line with 2 laps to go, I know I kind of need to be staying near the front. Unfortunately, this guy on the inside has a bit of mechanical, but luckily managed to catch it. I don't know if his chain came off and he got it back on. Yeah, I know I'm going to having to dig deep here, just stay in the front of the group, try and keep a decent position. So then we rejoin here, 1 lap to go there as we pass the line, and unfortunately I've let my position slip a bit, kind of just, I think it was on the downhill, lost concentration a little bit, which means on this incline I'm having to work pretty hard just to keep my position and then also try and move up a few towards the front of the group. But yeah, at this point I've got quite a lot of fatigue in the legs. Take it a bit wide through there, which allows a few people to go up past me on the inside. Luckily take this corner fairly well, carry quite a lot of speed. Everyone's sprinting out of the corner regardless because it's the last lap. But I do let quite a big gap open up in front of me there, which wasn't ideal. Again, yeah, I think that's the same place I lost places on the last lap, just letting people pass me on that downhill bend. But yeah, I kind of get a bit boxed in here, people coming up on the left and right, and wasn't ideal positioning for me. In hindsight, I definitely would have made a move to get to the front of this group earlier in the lap, or even the lap before, and just try to stay there, because the pace is pretty high now. It's pretty hard to come past people. Try and go around the outside, which definitely helps to get past 1 or 2, but by going around the outside and taking a long way around, definitely lose quite a lot of ground there on people, and you can see the group kind of getting away from me in the front. And as we come through this last chicane, I go for the sprint, but it's just not long enough a straight to be catching those people, and to be honest, I'm not even catching anyone. I'm pretty much max sprint here, and yeah, just kind of maintaining position, and roll through the line in 17th out of, I think it was about 36 who started. So yeah, the first race back of the season, middle of the group, I'm happy with that, seeing as it clearly took its toll effort wise based on the numbers from my numbers from the race. But yeah, hopefully it was a good learning curve, especially kind of racing in the wet, but on that circuit around positioning and stuff, I'd like to think that next race, and there definitely will be some more races here, I'll make a better effort of positioning near the front and trying to kind of optimise the race strategy to get a top 10 and get some points.